Ki Jai. So we're going to be reading about Lord Varahadeva today, because today is his appearance day. So this is maybe a surprise to you. I didn't tell you we're going to be reading about Varahadeva, but we are, and here we are. Hare Krishna. I'm going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we'll discuss. I don't know how far we're going to get, but we'll read, and we will discuss, and we will celebrate that Varaha took the form of a boar, which is a large pig, because he had to do the work of a boar, so why not take on the body of a boar? And boars, they're not that beautiful. Some of you may think they're cute, but some of you may not think they're cute, but definitely not beautiful. And some of you may think, actually, they're quite ugly. He was very beautiful because he's Krishna, and Krishna is always beautiful. So we will do a little kirtan for you, for Krishna, and then we will begin reading from Bhagavatam about Lord Varaha. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Sodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Chishodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Jamunatira Banachari, Jamunatira Banachari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Chishodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Chishodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jamunatira Vanachari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are going to begin reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the third chapter, 13th chapter. We're going to begin on the 14th verse. And previously, in this chapter, Manu, the son of Lord Brahma, has been speaking with Lord Brahma, and the earth has now fallen into the ocean, and Manu says, O all-powerful Lord, O killer of all sins. This is verse 14. I shall abide by your order. He was just given orders to procreate by Lord Brahma. Now please let me know my place and that of the living entities born in me. And he says, he requests, Lord Brahma, O master of the demigods, please attempt to lift the earth, which is merged in the great water, because it is the dwelling place for all living entities. So Hiranyaksha, the brother of the infamous Hiranyakashipu, has caused this to happen. And Manu is asking Lord Brahma, and he's saying, it can be done by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord. Purport: the great water mentioned in this connection is the Garbhodak ocean, which fills half the universe. Text 17. Maitreya said, thus seeing the earth merged in the water, Brahma gave his attention for a long time how it could be lifted. Purport: according to Jiva Goswami, the topics delineated here are of different millenniums. The present topics are of the Shveta Varaha millennium, and topics regarding the Chakshusha millennium will also be discussed in this chapter. Brahma thought, while I have been engaged in the process of creation, the earth has been inundated by a deluge, and has gone down into the depths of the ocean. What can we do who are engaged in this matter of creation? It is best to let the Almighty Lord direct us. So he's meditating, looking for some direction from Krishna. Purport: the devotees of the Lord, who are all confidential servitors, are sometimes perplexed in the discharge of their respective duties. But they are never discouraged. They have full faith in the Lord, and he paves the way for the smooth progress of the devotee's duty. So even Prabhupada, in spreading Krishna consciousness, had to make so many decisions. And sometimes he would say, we have our plan, and Krishna has his plan, so we'll make our plan, and let's see what is Krishna's plan. Sometimes you don't know until you execute the plan. So, even though we may not be clear about the plan, we're still enthusiastic to do service, and we depend on Krishna for guidance. So this is Brahma's position. Now he's considering what to do. He's not actually sure. He's depending on Krishna to give him guidance. O sinless Vidura, this is Maitreya speaking to Vidura, all of a sudden, while Brahma was engaged in thinking, a small form of a boar came out of his nostril. The measurement of the creature was not more than the upper portion of a thumb, so this big. That's kind of a big thing to come out of your nose. Anyway, Lord Boar was this size. So Brahma was thinking, and the answer came while he was thinking in the form of a little boar. O descendant of Bharata, while Brahma was observing him, the boar became situated in the sky, all of a sudden, in a wonderful manifestation as gigantic as a great elephant. Out of his nose comes a boar, all of a sudden, as big as an elephant in the sky. Interesting, right? Struck with wonder at observing the wonderful boar-like form in the sky, Brahma, with great brahmanas like Marichi, as well as Kumaras, the Kumaras and Manu, began to argue in various ways. Argue means discuss. They weren't fighting. Is this some extraordinary living entity in the pretense of a boar? It is very wonderful that he has come from my nose. In other words, the argument meant they're trying to figure out, who is this boar? Is he just like some demigod, some mystic yogi? Like, what's going on here? And obviously there's some connection with the fact that he was thinking about the boar. And all of a sudden, not thinking about the boar, thinking about the earth and the Garbhodak ocean, and all of a sudden this boar shows up out of his nose. So just to add to the mix of the whole thing. Hare Krishna. Tea time. Ginger. This is dangerous. I'm putting it in front of the computer. Generally, it's a bad idea. Oh, I can put it. I have a lid on it. Bad idea to put liquids near computers. They don't like one another. Well, I would say the liquids seem to like the computer, but the computers don't seem to like the liquid. So, probably not a good idea. Okay. So now they're discussing, trying to figure out what's going on. First of all, this boar was seen no bigger than the tip of a thumb, and within a moment he was as large as stone. My mind is perturbed. Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu? Purport: since Brahma is the supermost person in the universe, and he had never before experienced such a form, he could guess that the wonderful appearance of the boar was an incarnation of the Lord. The uncommon features symptomatic of the incarnation of Godhead can bewilder even the mind of Brahma. So Brahma creates all the living beings. And Brahma is thinking, I've created all living beings, but I didn't create this one. So this must be an incarnation of Krishna. That was his thinking. Nothing I've made. That's for sure. While Brahma was deliberating with his sons, having a discussion, deliberating, arguing, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu roared tumultuously like a great mountain. And now we get some interesting facts about mountains. It appears that great hills, I can't talk in the morning anymore. I don't know why. It appears that great hills and mountains also have their roaring power because they are also living entities. The volume of the sound vibrated is in proportion to the size of the material body. While Brahma was guessing about the appearance of the Lord's incarnation as a boar, the Lord confirmed Brahma's contemplation by roaring with his gorgeous voice. Everything Krishna does is gorgeous. So even though he was roaring, it was transcendently amazing. We can only imagine. So now we're reading text 24, the omnipotent. I just read an article. Omnipotent, omnipotent. Omniscient, omniscient. Omnipresent, Om present. Yeah, Om is everywhere. Can't get away from Om. Om, sweet Om. The omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead enlivened Brahma and the other highly elevated Brahmanas by again roaring with his uncommon voice, which echoed in all directions. Rah, 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 rah. Echo, 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 echo. Brahma and other enlightened Brahmins who know the Supreme Personality of Godhead are enlivened by the appearance of the Lord in any of his multi-incarnations. The appearance of the wonderful and gigantic incarnation of Vishnu as the mountain-like boar did not fill them with any kind of fear, although the Lord's resounding voice was tumultuous and echoed horribly in all directions as an open threat to all demons who might challenge his omnipotency. It was nectar to their ears, although ordinary living entities were probably extremely frightened. I don't say probably, they were. Text 25. When the great sages and thinkers who are residents of Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka heard the tumultuous voice of Lord Boar, which was the all-auspicious sound of the all-merciful Lord, they chanted auspicious chants from the three Vedas. So they were happy. They weren't running anywhere. Going to the next verse. Playing like an elephant. So Lord Boar is appearing to save the earth. So now he's going to do it. Playing like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers by the great devotees. The Lord is the object of the Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him. So some purports I'm reading, some not, because I want to get through the whole story, so I may take bits and pieces from this purport. The form of the Lord in any shape is always transcendental and full of knowledge and mercy. Yeah, that's the point. So don't think because it's a boar, it's not Krishna. No, it is. Yes. Yes. Okay. Text 27. Before entering the water to rescue the earth, Lord Boar flew in the sky. What boar? I've never seen a flying boar before. Slashing his tail, his hard hairs quivering. His very glance was luminous. And he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and glittering white tusks. Hooves, hooves. His hooves, hooves. Purport. When the Lord is offered prayers by his devotees, his transcendental activities are described. Here are some of the transcendental features of Lord Boar. As the residents of the upper three planetary systems offer their prayers to the Lord, it is understood that his body expanded throughout the sky, beginning from the topmost planet Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. It is stated in Brahma Samhita that his eyes are the sun and the moon, and therefore his very glance over the sky was as illuminating as the sun or the moon. The Lord is described herein as Mahadra, Mahidraha, which means either a big mountain or the sustainer of the earth. In other words, the Lord's body was as big and hard as the Himalayan mountains. Otherwise, how was it possible that he kept the entire earth on the support of his white tusks? Yes. He had to be big enough to carry the earth, so he assumed a form. It's like you get a big tractor. You get tractor sized according to the job. So this was a job that required a big body. So he had a big body. What can I say? So he picked up the earth, he put it between his tusks, and he carried it. So how much separation must there have been? Big enough to hold the earth. Big boar, definitely. Translation, text 28. He was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful, and he glanced over the devotee brahmanas engaged in offering prayers. Thus he entered the water. That was going to be a big splash, huh? Lord Varaha literally made a big splash. And I don't know if you're not born with English as your first language. It's an expression. Like if you if you do something great, you show up and you do something amazing, we say you made a big splash. So that was kind of a joke. He literally made a big splash. Figuratively and literally. Now Prabhupada is going to talk about this hog body to get us out of material consciousness. We should always remember that although the body of a hog is material, the hog form of the Lord was not material. was not materially contaminated. It is not possible for an earthly hog to assume a gigantic form spreading throughout the sky, beginning from Satyaloka. His body is always transcendental in all circumstances. Therefore, the assumption of the form of a boar is only his pastime. In other words, he could have done it. Krishna could have done it in so many ways, but to be one with you. Think, okay, let's take the form of a boar. That's a good tool for this job. Well, let's bring it down to earth, so to speak. Let's do it how they do it on earth, just with a bigger boar form. His body is all Vedas or transcendental, but since he had assumed the form of a boar, he began to search out the earth by smelling, just like a hog. Okay, if you're going to take the form of a hog, then might as well act like one. The Lord can perfectly play the part of any living entity. The gigantic feature of the boar was certainly very fearful for all non-devotees. But to the pure devotees of the Lord, he was not at all fearful. On the contrary, he was so pleasingly glancing upon them. Excuse me, try that one again. He was so pleasingly glancing upon his devotees that all of them felt transcendental happiness. Interesting, right? Varahadeva ki jai. Diving into the water like a giant mountain, Lord Boar divided the middle of the ocean, and two high waves appeared as the arms of the ocean, which cried loudly as if praying to the Lord, quote, "O Lord of all sacrifices, please do not cut me in two, kindly give me protection." Yeah, as I said, that was quite a jump. Tsunami created a tsunami. Even the great ocean was perturbed by the falling of the mountain-like body of the transcendental boar, and it appeared to be frightened as if death were imminent. So the ocean was like, whoa, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. And Lord Boar is like, don't worry, we've got business. Got to take care of business. Lord Boar penetrated the water with his hooves, which were like sharp arrows, and found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. So he got to the bottom. He got to the bottom of this matter. He saw the earth, the resting place for all living entities, lying as it was in the beginning of creation, and he personally lifted it. Purport, this is verse 30. Purport, the word Rasayam is sometimes interpreted to mean Rasatala, the lowest planetary system. But that is not applicable in this connection, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The Earth is 7 times superior to other planetary systems, namely Tala, Atala, Talatala, Vitala, Rasatala, Patala, etc. Therefore, the Earth cannot be situated in the Rasatala planetary systems. Details. The Lord found the earth on the bottom of the Garbhodak ocean, where the planets rest during the devastation at the end of Brahma's day. Lord Boar, this is text 31, Lord Boar very easily took the earth on his tusks and got it out of the water. Thus he appeared very splendid. Then his anger, glowing like the Sudarshan wheel, does this make sense? Then his anger, glowing like the Sudarshan wheel, he immediately killed the demon Hiranyaksha, golden eyes, although he tried to fight with the Lord. Aksha means eye, and Hiranya means gold. What's your name? My name's Golden Eyes. What's your name? My name's Golden Bed. What's your brother's name? His name's Golden Bed. His name is Golden Bed, sex and money. My name's Money and Eyes. Wherever I see, I see money. Wherever I look, I see money. A lot of people like a lot of people like that, right? Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Vedic literatures describe the incarnation of Lord Varaha, Boar, in two different devastations, namely the Chakshusha devastation and the Swayambhuva devastation. The particular appearance of the boar incarnation actually took place in the Swayambhuva devastation, when all the planets other than the higher ones, Jana, Mahar, and Satya, merged in the water of devastation. So this is where they're supposed to be during devastation. The particular incarnation of the boar was seen by the inhabitants of the planets mentioned above, the higher planets, because they weren't in the water. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti suggests that the sage Maitreya amalgamated both the boar incarnations in different devastations and summarized them in his description to Vidura. In other words, at different times the stories happened slightly differently. And this is a merging of the two stories. Thereupon Lord Boar killed the demon within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The Hiranyaksha was like, no, you can't take the earth. Now, that's my, business. I want the earth in the ocean. That's where I want it. That's where it's going to stay, and you can't take it. And get out of here. And so they had a good fight. And as you could guess, Hiranyaksha lost. And don't pick a fight with God, because it's like fighting with your wife. You can't win. It's just, some of us takes time to understand that. Don't fight with God and don't fight with your wife. You'll lose both ways, for sure. The cheeks and tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon, just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging in the purple earth. Yeah, I think for Lord Boar, that was kind of like makeup for him. It was, Krishna likes to fight, and Hiranyaksha came to fight. That was the deal. Jai and Vijay. So Lord Boar was having a good old time, for sure. This is text 33. Then the Lord, playing like an elephant, suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed a bluish complexion like that of a tamal tree, and thus the sages, headed by Brahma, could understand him to be the supreme personality of Godhead, and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Any way Krishna shows up in any form, it's absolute, it's beautiful, it's transcendental. And, we're trying to learn that when we see something transcendental, we don't equate it with something material, it's so easy to do because that's our experience. So say a boar is kind of a dirty animal. And how could the sound of a boar, which normally sounds quite disgusting, sound beautiful? How could a boar look beautiful? Well, because this form is not material, and everything transcendental is beautiful. That's how. Anyway, it's part of the process for us of learning how not to see the transcendental from a material perspective. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. So, they understand who he is, and they're just glorifying him. This boar It doesn't. You are who you are, whether you come as a boar or whatever. O Lord, your form is worshipable by performance of sacrifice, but souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others are in touch with your skin. Are in the touch of your skin. Your bodily hair is the kusha grass. Your eyes is the clarified butter. And in your 4 legs are the 4 kinds of fruit of activities. Sacrifice personified. So they're offering prayers. I want to bypass the prayers and see if there is more of the Leela. Lots of prayers. Well, we read this prayer. Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? Water. Or if you're from England, wa. Or water. It's funny how one word can be pronounced in so many different ways. Or water. Water. Or if you're from New Jersey, it's water. Water. Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the war? It is not very wonderful for you, however, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe. By your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. Like, what's the big thing? You created the earth, and you created a lot more than the earth, so for you to pick it out of the water, no big deal. This purport is kind of funny. I don't think it's meant to be funny, but it is kind of funny, showing the foolishness of people. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of people, the common man, without inquiry, accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. In other words, the scientist discovers something and he comes up with a wonderful theory. Well, who created what he discovered and who created the brain with which he could figure out what he discovered? Let's glorify that person. And sometimes Prabhupada says, people go see a human being who can imitate the sounds of an animal. And they think that's like amazing. If you can bark like a dog and you're a human, that's attractive. But the real barking is the dog, not the human. So Krishna, the example is Krishna's doing everything. But if a human being does something who is empowered by Krishna, then everyone praises him. But praising God, not necessarily, or even believing in God, not necessarily. A common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation. The learned Krishna-conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. Which basically means, I see everything. I'm in charge here. I got it together, don't worry. That's what it means. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a boar, and thus deliver the earth from the mire of the water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boar, because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies, which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientists. So I heard the other day that the most intelligent, this is interesting, the most intelligent person in the world has an IQ of 205. And even that person, who happens to be a woman. That's interesting. I thought women were less intelligent. Did you think that also? Did you heard that before? Women are less intelligent. There must be some mistake. 2,205 IQ. She must have bribed somebody, right? Because she couldn't be that smart. And even she, with her 205 IQ, even she not going to be able to understand Krishna. He eclipses the brain of even the most erudite scientist. Hare Krishna. Krishna is amazing, who is going to believe that God can come as a boar? Who's going to believe that? But why can't he if he wants to? That's the point. Oh, God can't do this. No, he can. If he's God, why would he dance with the wives of other men? Because he wants to. And because he can. If you could do it and not get caught, wouldn't you do it? Yeah, maybe I would. Yeah, so everyone's envious of God. Well, but he shouldn't do that because he's God. Well, you want to do it. Where do you think your desire came from? But your desire is polluted. His isn't. When he does it, everything good happens. When you do it, nothing good happens. Okay, now we get some blessing here for listening to this story. If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Boar, which is worthy of description, the Lord, who is within the heart of everyone, is very pleased. So all we're doing right now is we're just sitting down and we're listening, not very difficult. And look at the blessing we're getting. We're pleasing Lord Varaha just by hearing about him. Let's read the purport. In his various incarnations, the Lord appears, acts, and leaves behind him a narrative history which is as transcendental as he himself. Every one of us is fond of hearing some wonderful narration, but most stories are neither auspicious nor worth hearing, because they are of the inferior quality of material nature. Every living entity is of superior quality, spirit, soul, and nothing material can be auspicious for him. Intelligent persons should therefore hear personally and cause others to hear the descriptive narrations of the Lord's activities, for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. Out of his causeless mercy only, the Lord comes to this earth and leaves behind his merciful activities so that the devotees may derive transcendental benefit. And so we have something to talk about other than Donald Trump. Now, there's a big problem in the world because Donald Trump's not president. There's a big problem in America with the media. I don't know if you know this. But media ratings are going down because there's nothing exciting to talk about. He was like the best show on the block. Every day he would do something that would just raise eyebrows. And so everybody would be talking about him. Instead of talking about the incarnations of Krishna, they'd be talking about him. They found him a very fascinating figure to talk about because he was kind of unleashed, unhinged, unpredictable. He would do and say things no president has ever done or said. He would do and say things that most people have never done or said. What to speak of presidents. So the media was mesmerized, and it was good for their ratings, mesmerized by Donald Trump. And but Lord Varaha has come to our rescue, so we have something else to talk about. Of course, now there's not much talk about Donald Trump. Well, there's still some. He's fighting some legal battles now. But Lord Varaha to the rescue. You don't have to listen to about Donald Trump's nefarious activities anymore. You could listen to Lord Varaha's wonderful activities. And I'm hoping we're going to get to the fight. I mean, that's the best part, right? The fight with Raksha. Maybe this is just a summary. I didn't read through this before to find out where that story is. Here's a nice verse. This is verse 50. Who, other than one who is not a human being, can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? So this is in reference to hearing about Krishna. Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead's activities, which by itself can deliver one from all material pangs? In other words, it's a rhetorical question which is saying, who? Well, it answers itself. Who? Only someone who's not a human being. Interesting. Right? So, can somebody... Now, the next chapter is the pregnancy of Diti. This is about his brother. Golden bed. Sex and gold taking birth. Can somebody find out where the story is of the fight? Because that would be appropriate to read today, if the fight is indeed described here, and it is, but not in this chapter, and I didn't research where it is described, unfortunately. I thought it would be described here. So while someone is looking for that, I will read the purport. This is verse 48. No, we read that. This first read verse 49 purport. It's nice. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. Stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, the Lord gives intelligence to the pure devotees, so that they may be elevated to the highest perfectional stage. It is confirmed herein that a pure devotee who constantly engages in the loving service of the Lord is awarded all knowledge necessary to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For such a devotee, there is nothing valuable to be achieved but the Lord's service. If one serves faithfully, there is no possibility of frustration, because the Lord himself takes charge of the devotee's advancement. That's good to know, right? So you make the effort, and Krishna says, don't worry, I'll take charge, I'll take care of your advancement. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart, and he knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. In other words, the pseudo devotee who is anxious to achieve material gains cannot attain the highest perfectional stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. One merely has to become sincere in his purpose, and then the Lord is there to help in every way. So we've discussed this point many times, especially this last line. One has to become sincere, and then the Lord is there to help in every way. And if someone has other motives, if a devotee has other motives, why would Krishna fulfill those desires? Because they would just be impediments. And Prabhupada's saying if one is sincere, that means sincere to become Krishna conscious. Why wouldn't Krishna help you? Like, he doesn't like you, he doesn't want you. Nah, I don't want you to come back to Godhead. I just, like, something about you, it's just, I don't like. So I'm not going to help you. We might think like that's because that's how people here think. But that's not how Krishna thinks. So Krishna sees the devotee and sees that the devotee is trying, and the devotee is sincere, which means his motive is pure. That's the meaning of sincerity, is that the motive is to please Krishna. The motive is to become pure. So when Krishna sees that, he says, okay, I know on your own it's not going to work, so I'll help you. You don't have to worry. You just remain sincere, do your best, and I will do the rest. So that faith, that confidence, we should have. And the reason we should have, because it's true. Certainly we should believe what's true, shouldn't we? So now you all know that becoming Krishna conscious, although it may be difficult, it may seem difficult, if you have Krishna's help, how could it be difficult? And so I may say, yes, it's difficult to be Krishna conscious, but Krishna's helping me, and that's how I can do it. Otherwise, without his help, yeah, it is difficult. On my own, I don't think I can do it. So that's the idea. Correct? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Prabhus and Prabhvis, mamas and papas, you have nothing to worry about. Because if you're sincere, Krishna will help you. Okay, so I'm going to go to the chat and see if there's any discussion and see if any of you have found the portion of Bhagavatam where the fight goes on. Because we all like to hear about a good fight. Well, at least the men do. I don't know about the women. Women, you like to hear Hiranyakashipu? You like to hear about Hiranyakashipu's death, Hiranyaksha's death? Does that excite you? And all the men are saying, yeah, the more blood, the better. And the women are saying, oh, I don't want to hear about it. No, it's transcendental. You can hear about it. You'll get purified by the blood. Wow. Purified by the blood. We'll get purified by the blood of Hiranyaksha, by hearing about his blood and smearing on the body of the boar. So it's true. We're also purified by the blood. Krishna Karshani liked that one. Don't fight with God and don't fight with your wife. You probably have a better chance of winning if you fight with God. He might just say, okay, I don't want to fight anymore. But your wife, never. You'll never win. That's why you should hire a woman lawyer, because no one's ever want to fight with a woman. Chapter 18, the battle between Lord Boar and the demon Hiranyaksha. Okay, I think we should read it, but I will go and see if you have any questions or comments. Chapter 19, oh, there's controversy here. Chapter 19 or chapter 18? I think it's chapter 19. Okay, so I'm going to go to the database. So it's interesting how it comes 6 chapters later. So we're going to the 3rd canto and the 3rd chapter. Is it it's the 19th chapter? The killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. The battle between Lord Boar and so the battle starts in 18 and he's killed in 19. Well, I really think we need to read the battle, don't we? So we'll go through the verses. And just find where it starts. Okay, let's read from the first verse. Well, let's read from the last verse of the... It seems to start in chapter 17, the end. All right, we'll just start. Text 1. The proud and Maitreya said, the proud and falsely glorious Daitya paid little heed to the words of Varuna. Varuna was, I don't know, warning him, get out of here. O Vidura, he learned from Narada the whereabouts of the Supreme Personality of God and hurriedly betook himself to the depths of the ocean. He saw there the all-powerful personality that Narada must have told Hiranyaksha. He's down there. He saw the all-powerful personality of Godhead in his boar incarnation, bearing the earth upwards on the end of his tusks, and robbing him of his splendor with reddish eyes. The demon laughed. Oh, an amphibious beast! Because Hiranyaksha thought, I have everything under control. He will soon find out he doesn't. The demon addressed the Lord, O best of demigods dressed in the form of a boar, just hear me. This earth is entrusted to us, the inhabitants of the lower regions. You cannot take it from my presence and not be hurt by me. You rascal. You have been nourished by our enemies to kill us, and you have killed some demons by remaining invisible. O fool, your power is only mystic, so today I shall enliven my kinsmen by killing you. Sounds like a little 5-year-old threatening a world champion wrestler. The demon continued, would you fall dead with your skull smashed by the mace hurled by my arms? The demigods and sages who offer you oblations and sacrifice in devotional service will also automatically cease to exist, like trees without roots. So if he can destroy all the demigods, he's a happy camper. That's the nature of the Asura. They just don't like God and godly people. They really don't. It really upsets them. Text 6. Although the Lord was pained by the shaft-like abusive words of the demons, he bore the pain. But seeing that the earth on the ends of his tusk was frightened, he rose out of the water just as an elephant emerges with its female companion when assailed by an alligator. Krishna was hurt by those words. Didn't make him feel good. He's getting angry now. But he had to rescue the earth. The demon who had golden hair on his head and fearful tusks gave chase to the Lord while he was rising from the water, even as an alligator would chase an elephant. Roaring like thunder, he said, are you not ashamed of running away before a challenging adversary? There is nothing reproachable for shameless creatures. Well, he was coming out just to save the earth. And the Prabhupada says in the purport, Krishna didn't care what he was saying because he just wanted to get the earth out. He was focused on his duty. So whenever people challenge you or whatever is going on, just focus on your duty. So then Prabhupada says he didn't really flee from the challenge. That obviously he wasn't afraid of Hiranyaksha. He just had to get the earth out. The Lord placed the earth within his sight on the surface of the water and transferred her to his own energy in the form of the ability to float on the water. While the enemy stood looking on, Brahma, the creator of the universe, extolled the Lord, and the other demigods rained flowers on him. Looks like we're getting ready for the fight. The demon, who had a wealth of ornaments, bangles, and beautiful golden armor on his body, chased the Lord from behind with a great mace. The Lord tolerated his pursing ill words, but in order to reply to him, he expressed his terrible anger. Let's read the purport. It's interesting. The Lord could have chastised the demon immediately, while the demon was deriding the Lord with ill words. But the Lord tolerated him to please the demigods and to show that they should not be afraid of demons while discharging their duties. Therefore, his toleration was displayed mainly to drive away the fears of the demigods, who should know that the Lord is always present to protect them. The demon's derision of the Lord was just like the barking of dogs. The Lord did not care about it, since he was doing his own work and delivering the earth from the midst of the water. Materialistic demons always possess large amounts of gold in various shapes, and they think that a large amount of gold, physical strength, and popularity can save them from the wrath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he will show them here that that doesn't work. The Personality of Godhead said, "Indeed, we are creatures of the jungle, and we are searching after hunting dogs like you. One who is freed from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging, for you are bound up by the laws of death." So now Krishna's playing some pre-battle talk, like this is a perennial affair before the fight. It's called trash talk. Before the fight, the opponents try to trash one another. That guy couldn't fight me, if he prepared for 1,000 years. Are you kidding me? I could blow him over. That's how they talk, right? That's part of it, just the way it is. And so that originated with Krishna, and that's what Krishna's doing here. He's trash talking. He's having fun, because Hiranyaksha is trash talking, like you'll be finished in no time. In no time, it'll be over. You'll be finished. And Krishna is reciprocating, and Krishna's having fun. And Krishna's just stating the facts that you're under the control of nature, and so I kill you or not, you're going to die anyway, and nobody can kill me because I'm not killable. But Krishna's having fun here. Certainly we have stolen charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala and have lost all shame. Although bitten by your powerful mace, I shall stay here in the water for some time, because having created enmity with a powerful enemy, I now have no place to go. This is Krishna speaking, right? Correct. Yeah, this is Krishna playing around with him, kind of saying, come on, I'm not going anywhere. Come on, you want to get me? Here I am. You're supposed to be the commander of many foot soldiers, and now you may take prompt steps to overthrow us. Give up all your foolish talk and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. It's like, come on. Sometimes these overly confident boxers, they'll put their guard down and they'll go, come on, you loser, come on, try to get me. One may be proud, yet he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised word. So, in other words, You promised to kill me? Yeah, well. You won't have to worry about keeping your promise because you're not going to be alive to keep it. I mean, yeah, this is proof you should not try to fight God. Well, of course, it's not a bad idea. If you're going to fight, might as well fight him, because if you have the eyes to see, then you get to see him, and then you fall in love with him, and then all your enmity goes away. But that didn't happen here. It's not part of this Leela. Sri Maitreya said, the demon, being thus challenged by the personality of Godhead, became angry and agitated, and he trembled in anger like a challenged cobra. Shh. He's really angry. And Krishna is saying all these things just to rile him up. Anyway, Hiranyaksha is going to be in for a big surprise. Hissing indignantly, all his senses shaken by wrath, the demon quickly sprang up upon the Lord and dealt him a blow with his powerful mace. I have to visualize this. If anyone has a few $1 million, they could start making Leelas in full Hollywood level, Hollywood standard movies. You have a few million to burn. It'd probably take that much to do one pastime. If you ever get more money than you know how to spend, that's a consideration. But the actors have to be devotees. Translation. The Lord, however, by moving slightly aside, dodged a violent mace blow aimed at his breast, just as an accomplished yogi would elude death. And this is what you do in boxing. You know, they go like that, and they go like this, and you go like that, or you go like this, and so the fist comes, it misses you. Like that. That's a good move. Raha's making some good moves here. The personality of Godhead now exhibited his anger and rushed to meet the demon, who bit his lip in rage, took up his mace again, and began to repeatedly brandish it about. He's mad. Krishna's having fun. Then with his mace, the Lord struck the enemy on the right of his brow. But since the demon was expert in fighting, O gentle Vidura, he protected himself by a maneuver of his own mace. Wow, good move, Hiranyaksha. Now he's getting his what do we call it? His oats. He's thinking, I'm pretty good. He's like very confident. In this way, the demon Hiranyaksha, or here it said Haryaksha, and the Lord, the personality of Godhead, struck each other with their huge maces, each enraged and seeking his own victory. Haraksha is another name for Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha. There was keen rivalry between the two combatants. Both had sustained injuries on their bodies, and the blows of each other's pointed maces, and each grew more and more enraged at the smell of blood on his person. In their eagerness to win, they performed maneuvers of various kinds, and their contest looked like an encounter between two forceful bulls for the sake of a cow. Wow. Wow. Maybe someday we'll get to see it. The only problem is you already know who's going to win. How exciting is it? Oh, Krishna, you're so boring. You always win. There's no excitement. It's just a question of when you decide you're going to win. So Krishna's playing around with him now. Krishna likes to play around. It's part of fighting. And could Krishna finish him off in one blow? Of course. But they're playing around, and Hiranyaksha is getting, pretty excited, thinking he could actually win. O descendant of Kuru, Brahma, the most independent demigod of the universe, accompanied by his followers, came to see the terrible fight for the sake of the world between the demon and the personality of Godhead, who appeared in the form of a boar. Demigods are fortunate. They get front row seats. They get to see it somehow or other. That is the benefit of being a demigod, for sure. After arriving at the place of combat, Brahma, the leader of thousands of sages and transcendentalists, saw the demon who had attained such unprecedented power that no one could fight with him. Brahma then addressed Narayan, who was assuming the form of a boar for the first time. My dear Lord, this demon has proved to be a constant pinprick to the demigods, the Brahmins, the cows, and innocent persons who are spotless and always dependent upon worshipping your lotus feet. He has become a source of fear by unnecessarily harassing them. Since he has attained a boon from me, he has become a demon, always searching for a proper combatant, wandering all over the universe for his infamous purpose. Lord Brahma continued, my dear Lord, there's no need to play with this serpentine demon, who is always very skilled in conjuring tricks and is arrogant, self-sufficient, and most wicked. In other words, Lord Brahma knew Krishna could kill him very easily. So he's kind of giving the cue. Okay, time's up. Just like, we got to go. Just kill him, okay? It's just having him around is just a botheration. We've had him around too long. It's just time to get rid of him. Brahma continued, my dear Lord, you are infallible. Please kill this sinful demon before the demoniac hour arrives and he presents another formidable approach favorable to him. He'll get all kinds of ghosts and rakshasas, whatever. You can kill him by your internal potency without doubt. My Lord, the darkest evening which covers the world is fast approaching. Since you are the soul of all souls, kindly kill him and win victory for the demigods. The auspicious period known as Abhijit, which is the most opportune for victory, commenced at midday and has all but passed. Therefore, in the interest of your friends, please dispose of this formidable foe quickly. The demon, luckily for us, has come of his own accord to you, his death ordained by you. Therefore, exhibiting your ways, kill him in the duel and establish the worlds in peace. Okay, so now we're going to read what happens. After hearing the words of Brahma, the Creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayer with a glance laden with love. Okay, we'll get rid of this guy. The Lord, who has appeared from the nostril of Brahma, sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was stalking fearlessly before the Lord. Struck by the demon's mace, however, the Lord's mace slipped from his hand and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderfully. Uh-oh. Even though the demon had an excellent opportunity to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, therefore kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord. Now, that would be against the etiquette of combat to strike him because he didn't have his weapon. As the Lord's mace fell to the ground, a cry of alarm arose from the witnessing crowd of gods and rishis. The personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarshan chakra. All right, that means it's over. As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hand, and the Lord contended at close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who had been born as Hiranyaksha, a vile son of Diti, there issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who were witnessing from airplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you! Pray dispatch him! Play no more with him!" When the demons saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, stand in great resentment. The demon who had fearful tusks stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain!" I don't think so. O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on, the Lord in his boar form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest. The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared. When the Lord saw the mace flying toward him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent. Okay, this mace is going to destroy you. It just catches it. His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered. It was like, what's the use of throwing it? He can just defect it. He now took a trident, which was as rapacious as a flaming fire. Rapacious? And hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmin. What does Lord Varahadeva do with the trident? Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshan, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut to pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced toward the Lord, roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivatsa. Then he went out of sight. Wow, mystic power. Hit in this manner by the demon, O Vidura, the Lord, who had appeared as the first boar, did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body, any more than an elephant when struck with a wreath of flowers. Okay, Hiranyaksha, that didn't work either. Okay, what are you going to do now? The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the Lord, who is the Lord of Yogamaya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was near. Purport. The fighting enjoyment of the Supreme Lord with his devotee who had been converted into a demon appeared severe enough to bring about the dissolution of the universe. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the wavering of his little finger appears to be a great and very dangerous movement in the eyes of the inhabitants of the universe. Whoa. Fierce winds began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness, occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner. This is the mystic power of Hiranyaksha, as if thrown by machine guns. Wow. Like stones coming a few hundred miles an hour. The luminaries in outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with masses of clouds, which were accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky rained pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. Hare Krishna. O sinless Vidura, mountains discharged weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses, armed with tridents, appeared with their hair hanging loose. Oh my God, what a scene. That's like a Hollywood scene. Cruel and savage slogans were uttered by the host of ruffian yakshas and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or chariots. It's getting to be a bigger fight than we thought. The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshan, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by the demon. Finished. All these mystic figures, finished. It's over. Now what are you going to do? At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kasyapa, and blood flowed from her breast. She knew he was going to be killed. So, I think, as far as I understand, she was told that her sons would be killed by Krishna. Yeah. She was terrorized. When the demon saw his magic forces dispelled, he once again came into the presence of the personality of Godhead, Keshava, and full of rage, tried to embrace him with his arms to crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. Quite frustrating, hey, Hiranyaksha? Haryaksha. The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fist, but the Lord Adhokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as Indra, the Lord of the Maruts, hit the demon Vritrasura. The Lord is Adhokshaja, beyond the measurement of our senses. So Hiranyaksha is making miscalculations. You think you can hold Krishna? Though struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, the demon's body began to wheel. Not will, wheel. His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets, his arms and legs broken, and the hairs of his head scattered. He fell down dead like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind. Party's over. So how did he die? He was slapped in the ear. That's how he died. He just slapped him in the ear. And that was it. Like Lord Varaha went like, get out of here. Slapped him, and that was it. That one slap. What was the result of that slap? His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets. His arms and legs were broken. One slap in the ear did it all. And the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead. Amazing. So let's read the purport, and we have some discussion or questions. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite all his demoniac maneuvers, was killed by the Lord when the Lord desired, simply by one slap. Wow, there you go. Which definitely proves you don't want to fight with God, because if he doesn't want you to win, you're not going to win. If he wants you to lose, then whatever he does, you'll lose. The conclusion is, better be on his side. Okay. Now, we'll see if there's any discussion. Doesn't appear to be. You all appear to be stunned. Can't say anything. Okay. Lord Varahadeva. So I'll just go back. We'll read a little. Or a few more shlokas. Kind of read about the culmination of this fight. Aja, Brahma, and others arrived on the spot to see the fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, glow from anger. And Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such a blessed death?" So, Hiranyaksha was blessed. Purport: although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. This is very peculiar, because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale. The luster gradually fades, and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyaksha lay dead, his bodily luster was unfaded, because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. One's bodily luster remains fresh only as long as the Spirit is present. Although the demon's soul had departed, the Supreme Spirit touched the body, and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. Whoa. The individual soul is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate. And therefore personalities like Brahma and other demigods eulogize the death of the demon. Yeah, you are so lucky you were killed by Krishna. I mean, otherwise you're going to die a natural death or die in an accident. You're killed by Krishna. Fantastic. What could be better? And also, what could be better than dying while looking at Krishna? Doesn't get any better than that. So Brahma is praising the great fortune of Hiranyaksha. Now, their identity is being revealed here in the Bhagavatam. Why they came, who they were, etc. So we'll read this verse, and we can end class with this. After this killing the most formidable demon, Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods, headed by Brahma. So came down, did his business, had some fun, went back. Hare Krishna. Lord Varahadeva ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, one slap, he was defeated. He's Krishna. Why does he need more than one slap? He could defeat him just by thinking. Okay, die. Dead. He doesn't have to slap him. That was just a pretense. He could kill him any way he wants. Thinking, he could blow him dead. He could go like that, kill him. He could go like this, kill him. Anyway, It's just a display for us. So yeah, he can do whatever he wants. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll end class here. I think reading Bhagavatam about Lord Varaha is very auspicious. Tomorrow, at least here in this part of the world, is the appearance day of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. So we will be discussing Lord Nityananda tomorrow. There will be Russian translation. You'll have to either watch it on Zoom or Facebook or, YouTube. I don't think Thursdays are broadcast on Facebook, but they're broadcast, and you can get the Zoom address, or it's broadcast to YouTube. You can watch it there live on YouTube. Lord Varahadeva ki jai. Today we got to bathe in the blood. Well, we got to hear about Krishna bathing in the blood. But anyway, if any Christian asks you, is there any correlation between bathing in the blood? You go, oh yeah, Varaha. He had blood all over him. And we read about that blood, and we become purified by reading about the blood of Varaha, the blood of Hiraksha on the body of Varaha. So yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. No, I wouldn't say that to a Christian. They'd look at you like, what? They wouldn't look at you like, what planet you're from. They'll think, what mental hospital did you just escape from? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.